thanks. Like, hey, Scoob, did you hear Nikki Blake is hosting a Scooby-Doo panel? No. Yeah. Like on today's Scooby-Doo episode, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy meet Nikki Blake. Yeah, and a Scooby Panel. Like, we need to get this puppy started. Okay, Nikki Blake, take it away, Scooby-Doo.
Welcome to the Scooby Panel. I'm your host, Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com. Scooby has spanned 56 years, and today we're celebrating Scooby and how he has impacted our lives. Before we begin, I'll have everyone introduce themselves, and Wendy will start with you.
Hi guys, I'm Wendy BRYDGE. I'm a commission artist, and I've been collecting Scooby for over 30 years.
Joel?
Bonjour, je m'appelle Joel. Bon fait Scooby-Doo.
That's great. I like that. So Scooby-Doo started in 1969 and has given us 17 series, nearly 50 movies, and several specials. There's something for everyone in the Scooby franchise. Most people can relate to at least one of the characters. Fred has strong leadership skills and likes to design traps. Daphne is resourceful and fashionable. Velma is very smart and very curious. Shaggy is kind-hearted and he loves food. And Scooby is loyal and will do almost anything for a Scooby snack. Or maybe you can relate to one of the villains because of their motive or the thrill of the chase. The Scooby-Doo franchise is packed with mysteries, fun, and life lessons that have remained relevant through the generations. We've covered so many topics on the Scooby panel over the past 4 years, and today we're talking about how Scooby has impacted our lives. Joel, how has Scooby impacted your life?
Oh, quite a few ways. It was like a pretty good bond between me and my nephews and nieces because they come over to my parents' house when I was in my teens, and they just always run up to my room and we just watch Scooby-Doo. And they've grown up to love Scooby-Doo, and when we get together now, we talk a lot about Scooby-Doo. They're in their 20s and 30s now. But when they were kids, those videotapes were coming out, and Teletoon just got released in Canada, which was like the equivalent of Cartoon Network in the States, but it didn't hit us until like, what, mid-90s, Wendy?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty late in the game, probably later 90s. I don't know, 96?
I would guess about that, yeah.
Yeah, and then at first they only released like Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And I recorded everything, and we watched those, and they were just excited to come over. So it's just when I think of Scooby-Doo, I think of them. And when they see Scooby-Doo, they think of me, which is great. And then impacting my life, I learned how to like program and web design and stuff just early on, HTML, just because I started a Scooby-Doo website in, I think, 98. And that was before like the internet was super popular and you had to code everything by hand. And now my career involves all those things I learned just by programming Scooby-Doo. And I probably wouldn't have this career if I never started that. And then meeting you two and other Scooby-Doo fans, it's been great. So lots of ways.
I also learned HTML and coding just to be able to do web design stuff. So
That's true.
yeah. Nice. So hey, he's given us life skills too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wendy, how has Scooby impacted your life?
Yeah, there really is so many different ways. The most superficial one being that as a kid, as an adult, this was probably one of, if not the first things that, not to be too superficial about it, but that brought me joy through things that I could have and that I could come and look at. And almost all of my pieces have a story, or I remember where they came from, who gave them to me, where was I when I got this. And so it's memories and nostalgia, and that's always something that is nice to be able to fall back on, especially as an adult where you know, life sucks sometimes and it's hard to get through your day. And I think that if you have something that that brings you that kind of like joy and peace, and you simply just like, you like it a lot, you know, it's so cute. Like, how is that not going to bring you joy? This is my favorite Scooby beanie. When I first got him, it was a huge deal, huge deal. So he was only a couple of dollars. I'm not saying that money buys you happiness, but I think it's okay if you have things that make you happy. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Scooby definitely fits that bill. We have talked so many times about all of the life lessons that Scooby has imparted to us. You can pretty much look at most situations that you might find yourself in and just arbitrarily think like, oh, how would the Scooby gang of like, you know, oh, this person's in my way, or this person's being mean to me, or I don't want to do this, or this is inconveniencing me. And it's like, well, this crazy little cartoon dog that I grew up with as a kid, Scooby helps people, even when it's inconvenient for him. And even though Scooby gets scared, he still does the things that he has to do to help his friends. And I think that that's a very positive, he's a positive role model for anyone. Definitely a positive role model for me. But honestly, at this particular moment in my life, I would have to say that I'm going to go the sentimental route. And Scooby basically brought me the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. And I think that that is not any small thing. I met Scott. I knew of Scott Gerald's previous to even knowing who he was because of his comic book covers in the 90s that made me want to draw. And then Nikki, I met Nikki, and Nikki was like, yeah, we're going to talk to this guy. And as I was researching, I realized I'm like, oh my God, it's the guy that did the comic books. And just getting to know him as a person, I mean, I sometimes have to remind myself that like, yeah, Scott worked on Scooby. That was his career, because now he's Scott to me because I love him so much. And that's the person that every day I want to see him. Every day I get up and that's the first thing that I want to do is I want to talk to him and I want to see him. So Scooby made that possible. And I didn't think that I could be happy in that way. And Scott has made me happy like that. So thank you, Scooby. I mean, I don't know what better gift Scooby could have ever given me than that. So my love for Scooby and my love for Scott, just, I don't know, that's the biggest way that Scooby's impacted my life, and definitely the one that I most enjoy because it's really great. I don't know that Scooby has actually impacted my life in any negative ways, to be honest.
So we can say Scooby is a matchmaker.
There you go.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Like you guys, he's impacted my life in many different ways. One thing is Scooby kind of shows you that it's okay to be scared and to try to face your fears. And maybe you need a Scooby snack in order to do that, and that's all right. Sometimes you need incentive to be able to do things.
Yeah.
A lot of times Scooby is my incentive to do things because, you know, I can get lost in watching an episode or editing a panel. And, you know, I probably spend hours and hours editing these panels, watching them over and over just to make sure that I have everything in it that I want. It never gets old because we're talking about Scooby. It's stuff that is interesting to me. And sometimes editing is just hilarious because I get to see all the behind the scenes stuff that the times that we make mistakes or we just bust out laughing because of something that was said before we even recorded the panel. And so Scooby brings a lot of joy to my life and makes me happy. Like Wendy said, how can you not look at Scooby and not smile? Like, you can't look at him and not smile. There's no way. He's so cute. Was made for kids and for adults. like I said in the beginning, there's something for everybody. You know, there's a series or a movie that you can enjoy no matter who you are. There's so many different things like karate and baseball and hockey, and you know, there's something that everyone is going to enjoy. The way that the gang interacts, they're friends. I prefer when they're just friends, when they're just having a good time, they're solving mysteries together, they're working together. You know, they all kind of have their little thing that they do as part of the gang, but I mean, in real life, people do that too. If you're working in a group, you have your thing that works best for you. That's how everyone is able to come together and get things done. And the gang does that, and they work well together. And then when they solve the mystery, they go have a milkshake. You know, I mean, what's better than that?
Yeah.
It's great. I've met some amazing people through Scooby, Wendy, Joel, so many other people. I've been friends and maintained friendships with people for years because of Scooby. And I definitely could not ask for better people in my life. Scooby also helps me to calm my anxiety, and lately I've had quite a lot of that. So he has been very, very helpful to me in many ways. And I love Scooby. I love that it's a positive thing for people to enjoy. You know, yes, someone is trying to do something. The villain is always, you know, the negative aspect of the show, but the villain doesn't prevail. So Scooby is a very positive thing for kids. You get life lessons that maybe you don't even realize you're getting, but they're there. I have a very strange question for you guys. If Scooby didn't exist, what would be your favorite character? Joel?
Or can we pick anyone, or does it have to be Hanna-Barbera?
It can be anything in the world.
Anything in the world, but it has to be a character.
I mean, I guess technically it could be whatever you want. So you collect Scooby masks and you have some other Scooby stuff, but if Scooby didn't exist, then what would that be? What would replace Scooby for you?
Yeah.
Not an easy question.
Not an easy question because I just have to bump up something else, but I don't think it would surpass Scooby. Because I like Spider-Man quite a bit and I like Alice Cooper quite a bit, but I wouldn't go hog wild with like their merchandise. So I don't think it'd be those two, but I wouldn't replace the void Scooby would have, that's for sure.
But technically there would be no void because Scooby doesn't exist.
Yeah, I just fill it with a bunch of other stuff, I guess, that I'd be bored more often. Yeah, I don't, because I watch a lot of Scooby-Doo and I wouldn't watch a lot of anything else because I can't really watch much of anything else. It's not like Scooby-Doo is taking up all my time. I just choose to watch Scooby-Doo over, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like the question, but I think it just, yeah, I think I just would be in a world where I'd be more bored because I wouldn't have Scooby-Doo to watch.
Wendy?
Yeah, to be honest, I think the answer to this question is there is nothing out there that could actually replace Scooby to the extreme that he is in my life. There's lots of other characters that I enjoy. I mean, I'm looking around at my room. I have other things that I collect, but it's all very eclectic. It's a lot of a couple of all kinds of different things, but there is nothing else that I have or that exists that I'm aware of where I would want like an entire room of it. like Joel was saying, there's nothing else that I would be able to like put on and watch over and over and over and over again. I like the Flintstones. I can watch a couple episodes of that. Would I want a whole room full of Flintstones stuff and be able to just like put on the same episode for the millionth time? I don't think I could. I don't like it to that level. So for me, the answer is I would not be a collector of any one thing. It would just be different things that I like. I would probably collect, but there would be no like one thing where I'm like, that's my thing right there. I honestly don't think that anything could even come close to like having the piece of my heart that Scooby managed to have. And you have to understand, for the majority of my life, I did not consider myself a Scooby collector. I was just like, okay, well, I'm the girl that likes Scooby. None of my friends even know what this is. Don't live in a place where, you know, until there was like internet and I met other people who were like me, I'm like, okay, well, this is just my thing. It's a thing that I enjoy and I love it. So if I see something and I like that, I'll buy it. And then all of a sudden, to become aware of collecting and other people's collections, and then it was like, whoa, wait a minute. I am technically a Scooby collector. So I didn't even think of it in those terms. It was just like, this was the thing that made me happy and I enjoyed it way more than anything else. And there is nothing else that even, like, I couldn't watch Disney movies constantly. There's no one Disney character that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed with that. Like, I love it. I have a small collection of Batman, but I don't like it that much. It's not like there's no, I mean, do I want to say that I'm obsessed with Scooby? Well, I don't want to say it, but is it true? I mean, I can't really deny it. I don't think that there is anything else for me that is like obsession worthy. I don't. That's a very interesting question. And that's the answer. There would be no one thing to fill that void that Scooby would leave if he wasn't there. It would just be a constant search for anything that I liked to try and like fill that void. So I like Scooby is irreplaceable, is what I would say.
Yeah, I have to agree. I do have some small, I wouldn't even call them collections because I don't have enough stuff of them, but dragons, panthers, Rudolph. They're things that I enjoy, but could I see myself having a full room of that stuff? Probably not. Like little pieces here and there, not an entire room.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I really like anything as much as I like Scooby. I can't think of another show that I've watched over and over.
No.
Yeah, I have to agree. He's irreplaceable. There's just nothing else that I could see liking this much. And then if we didn't have Scooby, I mean, I wouldn't have anything to talk about on a podcast because I don't like things enough. It would just be like a random kind of show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not having Scooby would change a lot about our lives.
Would. Definitely.
And that's not something that I've ever really thought about. What it would be like if Scooby didn't exist.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't even know if I've necessarily like quote unquote connected with other people with anything else that I am into or that I like or that I know something about. Certainly not the way that you can connect when it comes to Scooby. You know? I mean, there's always, no matter where you are or what you're doing, there's always going to be a couple of people that are like trying to ruin stuff. But for the most part, Scooby is pretty safe. You know, you tell people that you like Scooby and they're like, oh my God, I like Scooby too. And instantly you have something you could talk about without turning it into an argument or something unpleasant, you know? I feel like there's so many things you can talk about: your favorite episode, your favorite character. Where did you first see Scooby? Do you actually collect things? What kind of things do you like to collect? Like, Scooby is almost like, I mean, to put it into like a whole other category, Scooby's a matchmaker on a lot of different levels. If you really think about it like that, Scooby can matchmake your friendships too, and like your social circle. And honestly, given how wholesome and wonderful classic Scooby is, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. I think that Scooby is the perfect inspirational, aspirational property for kids, for adults, for men, for women. Scooby's evergreen and can be for everyone. I don't think that there's anything else out there that quite fits that bill. And I get it, we're a little bit biased because we love it, but I would love to hear from someone who doesn't love Scooby, like, what is your thing? Could you answer our question, and make it make sense? I would love to know that. If for other people there are, like, what is that thing that like does it for you on this level?
Yeah, that would be interesting to know what other people are collecting. What is their equivalent of Scooby?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd also like to know anybody that does collect Scooby, if there would be something that if Scooby didn't exist that you would want to collect.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did get some videos and audio sent in from some other Scooby fans, so let's take a look at those.
Hey, this is Tyler. I'd like to send a happy birthday wish to Scooby, and how he impacted my life. I am autistic. He has impacted my life for so much because of his laughter and all the fun things he does and all the eating and everything. And over the years, it's inspired me to do my own voice impressions and everything. And he's just super cool. When I'm down or when I'm bored, I just throw him on the TV and it just gets my brain going. Oh, like, this is Shaggy. Yeah, and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Like, Scooby-Doo, where are you?
I'm turning 56 years old, Maggie. I'm getting tired.
Mason Burchett from the YouTube channel, Mason Burchett. Yes, I know, creative name, and I'm here to talk about Scooby-Doo's 56th birthday on the ScoobyAddicts channel for Nikki and Wendy. Guys, I love Scooby-Doo. And here's kind of my story with it. When I was 5 years old or so, maybe 4, I watched a lot of cartoons. And my dad didn't like any of them. I don't know. He's a 60s kid. And he was not having any of the stuff I was watching. So what we ended up doing is he bought the first and second season of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And the rest is kind of history from there. I watched the original series, and I would go on to watch, all the other series, What's New, Mystery Inc., Pup Name, all of them. I love them all so much. They're all perfect, and no one can tell me otherwise. I love them. And when I, kind of went in my teen years later, the love for it just kind of escalated. And I kind of wanted to, I guess, be the characters in a way. I always identified with Shaggy. I always wanted to be like him. He was a funny character. He was a goofball. And he was always hungry. And I identified with him. So I learned to do the voice, as you heard at the beginning. Oh, you think that's pretty good? Anyways, I learned to do his voice. And I was like, well, if I can do him, I can do Scooby-Doo. And that's when I kind of started getting interested in doing other character voices. I did, Plankton and the Looney Tunes. And you name them, just watch my channel. Shameless plug, sorry. But anyways, my love for voice acting was as strong as my love for Scooby-Doo, and I think they complement each other. So I'm always looking for a new series. I love the cast now. I've had the blessing to meet Scott Innes several times, and we've become friends. I've got tickets to his Cajun Con. Thank you so much, Scott. In December. I'd love to meet other cast members of anything Scooby-Doo related. Great Lyle, legendary Frank Welker, legendary Kate McCucci, legendary Matthew Lillard, legendary Casey Kasem, Don Messick, rest in peace, Heather North, rest in peace. I love them all so much. Neil Fanning, you're a legend. Anyways, that's what I've got to say for Scooby-Doo. And I just want to wish him a very happy 56th birthday. Also, I have a collection of my own, and and I'll show it on screen here. Thank you so much for listening to my story. God bless you all very much. Thank you, Scooby Panel. Thank you, Neil Fanny, everyone involved with this wonderful thing. You guys are the absolute best. Rock on, okay?
Yeah, Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Oh, with me, Scooby-Doo.
Hi, my name is Larry. I am a cosplayer and a lifelong Scooby-Doo fan. My journey with Scooby-Doo started out about 21 years ago. I was 7 and I had seen my first ever episode of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? On TV. I want to say it was Cartoon Network, but I can't exactly remember if it was Cartoon Network or Boomerang. But I saw my first ever episode, A Clue for Scooby-Doo, and ever since then I was just hooked on Scooby-Doo. It's a great show. I definitely prefer the older episodes of Scooby-Doo, so like Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Scooby-Doo Show, those ones. I prefer those ones over the newer shows, but there are some newer Scooby-Doos that I do like. Yeah, I just love the vibe, the essence, everything, atmosphere that the original Scooby-Doo brings to the table. They're just so iconic, and like the second you see that shot of the Kingston Mansion and hear those bats and the thunder, it's great. They really knew what they were doing, Hanna-Barbera. That perfect blend of creepy yet also funny. It's just like, it's a great way to like, entertain kids, families, anyone really. It's just an entertaining show, and that's one thing that I really love about Scooby. As a cosplayer, I try and bring that same energy in my skits, as Scooby. I like having that balance and just like, trying to, spread smiles. Obviously I'm not doing this for any monetary gain. I do this for fun. I want to do this at like conventions and just like have like something fun for people to watch when they're scrolling through Instagram. That's mainly the reason why I dress up in this costume and do stuff like this. But yeah, it's just, I love that vibe that original Scooby brings, and I just love the fact that as I've gotten older, I feel that I've grown even more of an appreciation for the show, because like, you can watch the show as a kid, think it's kind of scary, think it's kind of funny, but then you can watch it again as an adult, and you can really like see the different things, like, oh wow, that was actually kind of scary. Like they, could have been like, off the face of the planet. But yeah, it's just like you really start to appreciate the writing of the show and just like all the artistic talent, work, etc. put into the show as an adult. And that's one thing that I just loved when I found Nikki Blake and her Scooby-Doo panels. It was so great finding people who thought of Scooby the same way that I did, and just like really went down into like, the work put into the show, everything. And I mean, I thought I was the only person who really went in depth thinking about Scooby-Doo, thinking about the impact that the show, franchise, anything really has on people today. And I feel like not many people really appreciate that. But, this is a big celebration now. Scooby-Doo has been thriving for 56 years, and I hope that more people like really appreciate Scooby-Doo, especially the originals. I do say that like the original Scoobies, they're not getting as much, looked at now. Like they're not really getting analyzed as much. People aren't really appreciating them for how I see them, or how like, the people in the Scooby panel see it. And I think that's kind of a shame, so I feel like we should, bring back classic Scooby, bring back that vibe, because I feel like he's starting to stray away from his identity. But I don't want to get too negative here. It's Scooby's anniversary after all, so let's celebrate him, and I'm just really glad that Scooby's a thing, and I think we all should be really glad that he's a thing. So, here's to you, Scooby. We're so glad we have you.
How has Scooby-Doo made an impact on my life? Well, I guess the first thing would be that I became a bit of a collector, and I've collected a whole heap of Scooby-Doo memorabilia and collectibles over the last 22, 23 years, I suppose. And some of these are some of my favorites. I also made me an artist as well, and I love to draw. I mean, especially Scooby, for one. And also just other sort of artwork as well, not just character artwork. It's also made me a film and pop culture enthusiast as well, and thanks to watching the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, it made me get interested in filmmaking. And also an animation fan as well. It made me appreciate just animation and visual effects in general, and just made me want to really sort of just learn how it was made and how amazing it is and how it's all put together. And I think Scooby is just overall made me a really good friend to people, because I think everyone just really wants a friend like Scooby to be there to the very end, always being a comfort and just to listen to you and everything and do things with you. And all in all, what I really wanted to say is happy birthday, Scoob, old buddy, old friend, old pal.
Hey everybody, Sentimental Tucson fan here, or also known in real life as Evan Proctor. I'm also this Sentimental fan of Scooby-Doo. And for Scooby-Doo, when I was little, if I remember correctly, the impact he had on me, I was little and I was watching reruns, and I was glued to the screen. My parents couldn't get me away from the screen. Yeah. And ever since that day, I've been watching this little cutie. Yeah. Also, I have a lot of DVDs over there in the collection, but I didn't want to rush, so just brought one, which is the collection. Yeah, so Scooby-Doo meant a lot to me. People know me as a Scooby-Doo fan. I mean, I literally did a poll about that. But, yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and happy birthday, Scooby-Doo. Hope to see you in another few years. As he would say, Scooby-Doo!
Hey guys, I'm Mitch, and Scooby not only helped reignite my passion for writing, he's the reason I'm interested in voice acting in the first place. You see, when I was little, I watched What's New Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network. Hearing Frank Welker as Scooby and Fred helped instill in me the desire to become a voice actor. As for you, Scooby, you look good for 56. I know plenty of people who'd be jealous of your routine. Going forward, my advice, keep meddling, keep snacking, and don't forget Scrappy, alright? Who knows? Maybe I'll be voicing the both of you someday. Until then, all I can say is, happy birthday, Scooby-Dooby-Doo! See you later!
Scooby is such a huge part of my life, and he brings me so much joy, and I would like to wish a very happy 56th birthday to Scooby and the gang.
Is that you, pal? Aww.
Scooby-Doo is such a big comfort character for me. When he is scared of all the monsters and villains, that is like me struggling with anxiety and other challenges that I've had in my life. When he has the Scooby snacks and helps the gang solve the mystery and becoming brave, that's like me pushing through my challenges and fears. And that is why Scooby-Doo has made such a big impact on me in my life. Happy birthday to my favorite cartoon dog, Scooby-Doo.
I grew up watching reruns of Scooby-Doo in the mid-90s on good old Cartoon Network. It's been a huge part of my life ever since. I love these characters, and they stuck with me through adulthood. Happy birthday, Scooby. Here's to many more.
I think these videos were all really great. Thank you all for sending in your video and audio. And I really like everybody's impressions and your dedication to Scooby-Doo. Dressing as Scooby, doing his voice, so cool. And I love that you really, truly are able to get value out of Scooby. I also want to send a huge shout out to Neil Fanning for doing the amazing promo video to get people to send in the videos for this episode.
Scooby-Doo!
Wendy, anything that you would like to say about the videos?
Yeah, something that I don't think we give enough appreciation to, because I don't think that we consider it in this way. I mean, the three of us, we have quite a bit in common beyond Scooby. You know, Scooby is what made us friends, but then obviously when you become friends with people, you're like, okay, well, what else do you like? You know, what else are you interested in? What else are you good at? And I do feel like the three of us have a lot of similar interests. But listening to other people talk about Scooby, and then that made me think of all of the people that I know of online who talk about Scooby all the time, whether they have a Scooby dedicated account or it's just something that they do bring up and enjoy. Such a diverse group of people that have the same love, though, for this one really special thing. And I don't know that there's enough appreciation given to how like important and actually special that is. That people who don't come from the same background as you, people who have not had the same experiences as you, people who have grown up in a totally different atmosphere than you did, people that are different from you, but you both have the same love for Scooby. And that says something about Scooby that I think we need to keep alive and keep reminding ourselves of. And also to give, given that it is Scooby's birthday, all of the people that worked on classic Scooby that made him that made him something that everyone could enjoy, regardless of how they were different from other people. We don't have to be the same. We don't have to know the same things or do the same things or like any of the same other stuff. It's all of that is totally irrelevant when it comes to Scooby, and just how so many people can learn from him and take something positive away from this silly little cartoon. That is like magic. And I really don't think that if you were to try and distill all of the things that we've talked about with any other cartoon property, even Disney, because obviously there are people like big major Disney collectors making like our Scooby rooms look like nothing. But I wonder though, do they have the same intellectual, emotional attachment to that property that people have with Scooby? If that makes any sense. Because I don't think that you do, because I don't think that any of those other properties have done what Scooby has done and put forth the things that Scooby puts forth. But honestly, yes, thank you to everyone who took the time to make a video or an audio recording. And I love that so many people love Scooby, and lots of appreciation for classic Scooby there. Obviously, that I love that. That's fantastic. But yeah, Scooby, he really, it's why I'm so adamant that like, stop trying to change him. What he is, how he was made, that is why so many people love him. He doesn't need changing. He doesn't need updating. He doesn't need modernizing. He is perfect just the way that he came out in 1969. If the Scooby of 1969 had not existed, there would be no Scooby in 2025, and no one will ever convince me otherwise. None of those later iterations could have possibly made people feel the way that classic Scooby has made us feel, because without classic Scooby, the other stuff wouldn't have existed anyway. And I don't think that people appreciate what it was that made him that in the beginning. And I think that we need to protect that and honor and cherish it for another 56 years, or however long we can possibly keep it going. Because Scooby is an entity all unto himself. There is nothing like Scooby. No one will ever convince me otherwise. And it's just something that we can all love and agree on. And I think that's pretty special.
I think by you saying that you're curious about other collectors, that might have to be a panel.
It would be interesting.
I think it would be fun to bring on some people that collect something other than Scooby and ask them why, what is their motivation to collecting it? You know, how has that impacted their lives? And I think that'd be fun to hear from other people.
It'd be very interesting, definitely.
Joel, any thoughts on the videos?
Yeah, they're all great. I feel like I could be in another life. I want to say Scooby-pologist, as in like anthropologist, like Scooby. Just a study of Scooby and how people are influenced by Scooby. Like a lot of cool things going on: voice acting, art, animation, collecting, just Scooby getting through a tough day and just kicking back and, you know, those tougher moments, just watching some Scooby and getting past what we got to get past. So it's all interesting to hear. Everyone, thank you for sending those in.
It is interesting to hear everybody's relationship to Scooby. And even though everyone has a different relationship with their collecting, or, you know, how they got involved in the franchise, it's still Scooby is bringing people together. Scooby is making people happy. Scooby is helping people cope with life, which, the way the world is, we all kind of need something. So yeah, Scooby has had a very big impact on many people's lives. And, you know, we always appreciate the people who have worked on Scooby-Doo, all the work that they've put into it to bring us this amazing character that has impacted our lives so greatly. I mean, a character that is 56 years old. You know, most things don't last for 56 years. And Scooby has. And I guess I'm kind of happy it hasn't been a continuous 56 years, you know, that it's not just one series that's lasted all this time. We've gotten so many different iterations of Scooby, something for everybody. And, you know, Scooby's bringing people together, so there should be something for everybody. Would you like to wish Scooby a happy birthday, Joel?
I'll leave all the wishes more for Wendy, but happy birthday, Scooby-Doo.
Wendy?
Well, happy birthday, Scooby. If anyone in the cartoon world deserves to be celebrated today, it is you, because you have done nothing but bring positivity to the world and to people's lives. And not very many people or characters, I think, can say that. And you're still doing it after 56 years. That's pretty amazing. Scooby's work is never done. The Mystery Inc. gang never take a break. They are still going strong. To be honest, at this moment in time, the only Scooby series that I would be interested in seeing from here on out is Geriatric Scooby, where the gang are like their actual ages that they would be. And they're out there, you know, in their scooters and their wheelchairs. And, you know, Scooby might need a little diaper, but that's okay. Because I guarantee you that even in their elderly state, they would still be out there doing their best to get the job done, to help people and promote friendship and loyalty and respect. And that is the best way that we can honor Scooby on his birthday, is embody all of those things in your day-to-day life. It's not that hard. It just means that sometimes you have to be willing to do what the gang does and be like, well, this isn't convenient for me, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. Scooby is all about doing the right thing. So happy birthday, Scooby. We love you so much. And here's to another 56 years at least, because Scooby, you better still be going after we're all. Yeah.
I can't say anything better than that. So I'm just going to say happy birthday, Scooby and the gang. And thank you for bringing our lives so much joy. We're going to wrap things up. Before we do, let everyone know where they can find you on social media. Wendy?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm at Wendy BRYDGE. On Twitter X, I'm Wendy Loves Jesus. And my blog is wendylovesjesus.wordpress.com.
Joel?
You can find me on YouTube. Just type in Planet Scooby.
You can find all my links on ScoobyAddicts.com. Let us know how Scooby has impacted your life. And thank you for joining us for another Scooby panel. Thank you for tuning in to another Scooby panel. I'm Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com. If you like these panels, please subscribe to my channel for more great discussions. A huge shout out to our patrons, Julie Rosen, Ross from ScoobyFan.net, Tagus, Garrett Spencer, Paul the Scooby Dude, and Jesse. If you would like to support the Scooby panel, please go to patreon.com/ScoobyAddicts. A very special thank you to artist, blogger, and Scooby collector Wendy BRYDGE and Joel from Planet Scooby. Scooby Panel is available in podcast form on most podcast platforms or as a web series on YouTube. You can find Scooby Panel on Instagram, Facebook, and X as @ScoobyPanel. We are part of the Collector's Maze Network, where you can find all things geek. Scooby and Shaggy were voiced by Scott Innes. Check out Scott's website, onescottshop.com. Scooby Addicts artwork by Will Davenport. Scooby Panel logo by Garrett Spencer. Video editing by Nikki Blake. Music composed and performed by Bovine Nightmares. Please join us next time for another Scooby panel.